Like the 180-degree rule, one of the inviolable rules of cinema is if you can open your movie with Vic Tayback, you do that. Right, Dan?
Yes. Hey, everyone. My name's Daniel R. Budnik. That's Vic Tayback. And I'm here recording a 5 Minutes to Live, aka a Door-to-Door Maniac commentary with the great.
Wow, the great. Hi, I'm Rob Kelly. I'm a writer and podcaster about movies. And yes, as Dan said, we're here to talk about Door-to-Door Maniac slash 5 Minutes to Live, starring Vic
Mm.
Tayback and Johnny Cash.
Yes. And obviously I grew up knowing Vic Tayback from Alice. And every time I see Vic Tayback, I think of the James Brown song, The Payback. And I've always end up singing The Vic Tayback. And I thought that would have been a great, like, Weird Al song, like when Alice ended in the mid 80s. But that's neither here nor there. That's just the Vic Tayback. Now we have our other big star.
Yeah, Johnny Cash here. Now, by the way, I love this opening. This cold open,
Yes.
I think, is
Mhm.
is terrific. I think Johnny's here. He's going to mow down some cops.
Yeah.
Like this is pretty
It's
pretty grim stuff.
it's very noir in kind of a way that the rest of the film sort of isn't.
Hmm.
And it kind of sets you up for like this is what it's going to be, and it does really wonderfully set up that Johnny Cabot is a screwy fellow.
And look at that. Yeah, look at that.
That great shot there. I like how Johnny Cash is obviously very young throughout much of this movie, but that close up right there, suddenly that's like Johnny from the '80s or something like that. You know, it's like he aged 20 years, and it's Johnny who killed in Columbo, kind of.
So yeah, as we mentioned, obviously the version that Filmmasters has here is the Door-to-Door Maniac version. It was released in 1961 as 5 Minutes to Live, and then it was repurposed with some additional material, which we will get to, as a Door-to-Door Maniac. And that's probably, I would imagine, what it's more famous as is
I
Door-to-Door
believe so. Yeah.
Maniac. Yeah, Ronnie Howard. Look at that.
Yes. Wow. Wow. Yeah. It's a fun cast because unlike a lot of sort of exploitation film, well, which I guess I would call this. I mean, we can talk about later what kind of film this is, but a lot of them around this time just had a lot of people in it because the age of like the B movie was kind of over, and now we were going to sort of like independent exploitation, things like that, and a lot of them just had people in them like, say, Herschel Gordon Lewis, people you'd never seen before and maybe you'd never want to see again, whereas this movie is actually filled with a lot of well-known like character actors and stuff who some of them been going for decades.
I love the negligee and lingerie credit by
Oh
Joel Park.
my.
You don't see that in a lot of movies.
You don't.
Negligee
I wonder-
credit.
Yeah, put that in there. That'll keep people who are bored by the shots of suburbia. And I love this gal here who suddenly Thibodeau. Suddenly we're in New Orleans. The Loop Guru is going to leap out at us, but no, she's in suburbia with her. I feel like she's on like a Bourbon Street beat lot or something like that. Hey, but yeah, I love it. It opens up with that great noir sequence. You know, Vic Tayback in the low lighting and Johnny Cabot going crazy. And a Vic Tayback's character, I'm going to call him a lot of different names. Fred, Dave. I always forget his first name. I'll probably just call him Vic. Oh, Bill Karn.
Yeah, there's our director. By the way, if you saw in the credits, you saw the name Cay Forester, and then in the screenplay credit, it says M.K. Forester, and those are the same people. By the way, we'll
Yes.
talk about her in a moment. But yes, that is the.
Yeah.
I said, there's our hero, sort of Johnny
Yeah.
Cash playing a guitar, of course.
He's an unemployed killer at the moment, just playing his guitar, making his lady work for him. Hey, that's Johnny, right?
Now this is another musician. This is Merle Travis.
Yes, Merle Travis.
Kind of
Yeah.
playing Max here, who's this kind of he's got a sort of Scotty from Boogie Nights kind of energy, where he's kind of this
kind of a
this hanger on who is
yes.
sort of crooked, but probably a little too
Maybe
dumb
not.
to really be that bad, and so everyone
Yeah.
kind of just humors him.
Uh-huh.
It's got a real Maurice Wigs do fall off kind of energy.
Yeah, it's kind of he's just, oh man, I love the crooks, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't really want to be one because I run a bowling alley.
Right.
And
Yeah,
I
he's constantly
as always, I think this was the time period when bowling was becoming like big with the PBA and stuff. I know in the like the '60s it was. So I'm not saying that this is like the PBA would have shown scenes from 5 Minutes to Live at like a match or something, but because someone would have screwed up the reel and showed the bedroom scene later on instead of the bowling. But yeah, so you get. I do love Merle Travis in this because he is like obsequious and just kind of chewing his gum and just. It's like when you go into this town, you have to deal with that guy, that kind of thing. And the good old Vic.
And they had a little comedy bit where Vic Tayback was about to roll, and then Matt says something, and it kind of stops his concentration, so he has to kind of. So yeah, he says okay. So yeah, Merle Travis was also a singer. I mean, he appeared in a lot more films than Johnny Cash actually ended up ever doing, but he was a musician as well. And of course, this is Johnny Cash's first film.
Yeah.
And we'll get into this more, but I mean, this is long in the tradition of musicians becoming actors, wanting to get into film. Since the beginning of time. I was going to say Sinatra, but then you've got before that even. The list goes. I mean, it's as long as movies itself is the list of people. I just just off the top of my head, I was thinking of famous singers, and you got like Bing Crosby and Rudy Valley.
Of course, Rudy Valley,
Dean Martin, Elvis, the gold standard, Elvis, the Beatles, Bob Dylan, Cher, David Bowie. Chris Christopherson, Luciano Pavarotti.
Oh, yes, Giorgio.
Madonna, Michael Jackson, Prince, Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake, Queen Latifah, Ice Cube, Mark Wahlberg, Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga, Dua Lipa. It goes on and on and on.
Now, you wait just a minute.
Johnny. Take it easy.
The thing here is that Elvis did his couple of movies, then he went to the Army, and in 1960 he's back from the Army, releasing another album and doing Blue Hawaii and GI Blues, and then 400 other films over the next 6 years, and you just get this great period here where Johnny Cash is doing a film, Roy Orbison did the Fast Guitar Live, Mel Torme and Paul Anka are in Girls Town, Fabian did some movies, all these rock and rollers are doing movies. Some more successful than others. I mean, we could discuss what we think of Johnny Cash's acting style later or now, whenever. It's your call. I'll let you.
It's funny. This is something that I think the best of the musicians that became actors are the ones that either had the savvy or just the basic knowledge of themselves to know I got to work with a good director. I think Frank Sinatra in particular took a lot of chances, worked with a lot. I mean, early on he's playing a presidential assassin in Suddenly, or he's in the Manchurian Candidate. Elvis's early films, he's working with great directors.
Yes.
And, because I think a lot of them probably figured, I don't know what I'm doing here. By the way, I love this quote. He says, I want 30% of the take. He says, "You come high." I don't know. 30% doesn't seem that high, right? For how much Johnny's going to do here?
It's like 70,000. I think they want to steal, right? Is that right? 70,000, and he gets what he said, like 2,000 up front, and then 30. It's funny. Last time I watched this, I thought I'm going to figure that out, and then I thought, oh, math. No, let someone else do it. And I thought Rob will do it. Neither of us did it, folks. But it doesn't. It doesn't. It still seems like Vic is going to come away with a lot of cash.
Yeah, it's a good. I mean, right? The way you figure out how much money it's basically you just add a zero. So that would be about 700,000. I mean, it's not a fortune. I mean, for the amount of risk they're taking here. I mean, you got to get out of town if you do this kind of thing. But I mean, it makes sense to have a musician be in a movie. They come they're obviously comfortable performing in front of people. They come with. Especially the more popular ones, they come with a built-in audience.
Yes, yeah. Look at the Taylor Swift movie from last year. The audience is there. Yeah. And at this point, this was kind of before Johnny had his huge hits. This was the year he released "Ride That Train," which was his first travelogue album. Where he would, I'm Johnny Cash and I'm a hobo on a train, and then he'd sing a song, I'm a hobo on a train, kind of thing. And he did that throughout the '60s and '70s. But this was a couple years before Ring of Fire and I Walk the Line, and sort of the Johnny Cash that we all sort of know. This is just a couple of years before that, but he's still kind of the bad boy of country, and sometimes not in a pleasant way, the bad boy of country. But that's a whole nother thing.
Both the songs that he sings here, 5 Minutes to Live, and then the title, the song sung over the opening credits. Neither one of them were released as singles. I looked them up to see if they were released, but they were not. Neither one of them. By the way, I love how far these two stick out in suburbia. This is just cracks me up.
They are doing the sort of Jimmy Stewart trailing is it Kim Novak in Vertigo? Yeah, where he's like, you're like, doesn't she see him? He's like one car length behind her for like miles, and this sort of thing, just like the way when he says, "What's the house?" It's right there on the corner, and it's like the house. It's right there. It's right. These two suspicious guys sitting in a car. They keep coming in and out of the house and never see him. I don't know.
They could not look more out of place here. They just...
Yeah, exactly. I guess that maybe that's another thing. Like one of the themes of the movie is like these two jokers are invading the perfect suburbia, and just the thing where when you're in suburbia, you step out of our house the way our other star is right there, Cay Forester. And when you're in suburbia, you don't have to look around in the morning because everything's safe and everything's okay. So you don't see these jokers. Or if you do, maybe you think they're G-men or something.
I just love it. I love in this beautiful, bright suburbia. They just could not.
They're guys. Come on, guys.
She is a mess.
Now we're about to meet the Wilsons right here.
I miss saloon doors, by the way, on kitchens. I never grew up with them, but I see them in old time movies. I really do miss them.
The thing I love this set so much because it's like it telescopes the house. So you have the kitchen in the back, the dining room in the middle, and the living room in the front. So you don't need to like move from room to room. It just depends on where you put the camera. Like if you put the camera all the way back, you can see all the way down, sort of thing. Hey!
Ron Howard, everybody.
Yes.
Pretty amazing. They got this. Yeah. And the Andy Griffith Show had already just started by this point, right? So
it was 1960. So it would have been they would have been shooting. Yeah, it started September of '60.
Got him on the upswing. Oh,
yeah.
And I love the close-up shots of mush. The mush shot.
Is that like cream of wheat or something, or oatmeal, or like? Because when I think mush, I think consider yourself. I think of like Oliver or something. I don't think of and God, good for him. For the working man, he poured out his mush. Now he's not going to have breakfast. Oh no, wait, he's going to see a friend who has breakfast. Oh yeah, that's right.
What a jerk, man! I know it's not appealing, but God, you'd take the meal that your wife made for you, just dump it in the sink in front of your son too. Like,
yeah. The moods of the film I find interesting. The way we go from noir of the beginning to kind of a slightly comic bowling scene to the two of them sitting in the car watching. This is pure like Donna Reed. Right? This is like a sitcom. They're talking about mush and, Dad's got a hangover from the night. And they're just all these little things. Now Donna Reed usually dresses a little better than Nancy does right there in the morning. And that's kind of like the first clue, right, that all is not well in this house. Because Mrs. Cleaver always looked gorgeous in the morning. Whereas Nancy doesn't seem to care. Why is that, Rob? Why doesn't Nancy care?
Well, I imagine if you're married to this guy who seems openly scornful of you, again, he's gonna have this line about, if your mother cares more about the women's club than her family. Like, oh my God, like what's wrong with this guy?
Yeah, I don't know if I were her, maybe. Her, in protest, she should have just stayed in bed the next morning. Well, the next morning things are going to be very different in this household. Mm-hmm. I like the fact that this scene is sort of played more or less as I guess possibly because Ron Howard's there, but to me it's played like sort of a sitcom, like a late '50s, early '60s family sitcom. Which I kind of like because it's. I think if Cay Forester wrote the script, and you sort of, because when we look at the movie, I think we look at it as being Johnny Cash. But if Cay Forester wrote the script and she's starring in it, and her husband's producing it, I would think to her it's her movie. I guess maybe with like a lot of people, you got to go into it that way, right? Thinking like, I think this is my commentary. Rob thinks it's his commentary, and that's the way it works. But if you watch the movie sort of from her point of all the way through from her point of view, it's kind of a slightly different story than if you just watch Crazy Johnny just being crazy the whole time, because he kind of does the same thing throughout, whereas she does some sitcom stuff now, and then when Johnny Cash shows up, she's terrified, she's anxious, then in the bedroom she's kind of going a little crazy and maybe passionate, and then she gets to do the whole gamut of acting in this movie, and in kind of a way that no one else really in the movie does. But then she wrote the screenplay. I would have done the same thing for myself.
Yeah, yeah. The movie's about Nancy. Johnny Cash is the star, certainly, but you're right. He's kind of sort of one note through the whole thing, which again I think is indicative a little bit of the direction that he got.
Yeah, which we can discuss. Would you like to talk about Bill, the director? Or
well, I guess we could talk about Bill Karn a little bit. Apparently, the only bit of direction that he gave Johnny Cash was whatever you want to do is fine with me, Johnny. That's not. I don't know how helpful that is if you're in your first film and you're trying to kind of figure out what you're doing. I mean, just because Johnny Cash is comfortable on stage doesn't mean he knows how to deliver lines like this and talk to his actors. And, so, yeah, I don't get the sense that Bill Karn gave Johnny Cash a whole lot of, literal direction in this.
Yes, yeah, that's, and I think you can sort of see that on occasions, the way he occasionally delivers some lines, and like in that first scene where he does the "I like big stacks," and the way he does that motion with his hand, it's like, who told you to do that, Johnny? Was that your choice? Because that's kind of really drawing. That kind of looks a little amateurish to me there, especially when you act with Vic Tayback, someone who's already been acting for several years and would be acting forever after this. It's just like he's up against actual actors, and so there are moments when he just his over the top style just takes over the film. It's awesome, but then there are moments where it's a little awkward.
Now here, this actress here that he's the president of the PTA, or the woman who's trying to get her on the PTA. This actress here is Norma Varden, who was born in 1898, died in 1989.
Wow.
And this is one of those actresses that I'm really not that familiar with, at least by her name, by her face. And then you look her up. These are just some of her credits: Witness for the Prosecution, The Sound of Music, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, Dr. Dolittle, Random Harvest, and Strangers on a Train.
Yes.
I mean, wow.
That's right. And basically, this character you see here, this is more or less the character she kind of always played. She's like a Margaret Dumont variation, like for a new generation. And it's funny because I forgot she was in an episode of the Beverly Hillbillies, and I'll give you a hint: she doesn't play a hillbilly. So she's more the Beverly Hills side of it. But I like her scenes very much because they're just like, it's just, this is all she does. She's like this. She weird
sits on this couch and eats bonbons.
She eats, and there is I think a good joke where it's like, she's the kind of lady who like has the phone receiver in one hand and is eating chocolates with the other, and then it immediately cuts to her doing that.
Right.
That's pretty good. I don't know, with the sort of Bill Karn no direction. I don't know if that's maybe the editor did that one or something. I don't know, but there's some nice little bits here. Yeah, and Priscilla there, that's her name, right? I didn't just make that up.
It's Priscilla. Yeah.
Okay. She has that great thing where she's like, she just pops up randomly throughout the movie in the exact same position with the chocolates, with the phone, and there's a nice little twist which we'll get to in the end with her final call that it's like, oh, okay, she served a purpose in the movie apart from just being annoying. So there is some I think with the actual like storytelling in this, I think there is some really nice little plot turns and twists and things. It's kind of drowned out a bit in all the histrionics that we're about to experience, but the script is actually pretty sharp at times, which I like, which I appreciate.
Now this the guy playing the husband here, Ken. This is Donald Woods. He kind of has sort of like a resting dyspeptic face. He just looks permanently annoyed at all times. He just has this kind of like, oh, God, I don't want to.
Yeah. And if he didn't have that face, he probably could have got a great job on that's like the husband on Donna Reed or something like that. He could have been on one of the 50s or 60s sitcoms that ran for a decade. But he's just got that face where he's a little cheesed off, and even if he were in like a 50s sci-fi film and discovered a giant spider, he'd just have that same face. No matter what it does.
He was in Beast from the 20,000 Fathoms.
Oh, there you go.
He does have that credit, at least.
I should have rewatched that. And I love these little moments, like his retainer thing. That's not something you see a lot in 1960s. I mean, I don't remember Beaver or Wally having a retainer, but they probably did, right? But it's just these little moments, like, because that kind of pepper the film and kind of make it like more than kind of just a slightly twisted drama that I really like. And boy, if you like someone just pointing the camera at people and just moving it when they move, that's the direction in this movie. Not that that's
Not a lot of
thing.
info on Bill Karn. I looked up Bill Karn. It's not
yeah.
kind of hard to find info about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he. Do you want to talk about the film he made right before this? Did we?
Yeah,
No.
sure. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's Ma Barker's Killer Brood. Which, if you're a fan of like psychotronic posters and things, you've probably seen the image, which is like old Ma Barker with her like Tommy gun shooting stuff up in the foreground. It's you watch that. I watched that.
I did, yeah. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about it because just in case Film Masters gets the rights to that,
sure,
they have us do the commentary for it.
Oh, that's true. We don't want to.
But
here's all we know.
Yeah. I will say it stars Lorene Tuttle, who's Mrs. Chambers from Psycho, and Periwinkle Blue. If you want to see a movie where an actor is at an 11 from scene one and stays there till the last frame, that is your movie. Lorene Tuttle is going for it in Ma Barker's Killer Brood.
She is great, and I know her from like she was in a lot of radio shows. She played she was one of the sort of semi-leads in The Great Gildersleeve. She played, I forget the character's name, but the boarder that Fibber, McGee, and Molly take in during World War II. And she has very different, like when she's on The Great Gildersleeve, she has a sort of Southern belle. And when she's on Fibber, McGee, and Molly, she sounds like a sort of go-getting 40s World War II factory gal kind of thing. and then in this movie, she's crazy Ma yelling about her sons being pansies the whole time. And one more thing with Ma Barker is the fact that I forget what the actor's name is, but the middle son in My Three Sons is in Ma Barker. So in this period around 1959, 1960, when My Three Sons and Andy Griffith Show were about to start and go on forever, he somehow got like these two like rising young actors to be in the movies, which is like when I forget the middle kid's name in My Three Sons, Chip. Are they all named Chip? I haven't seen My Three Sons.
I think they might have been all named Chip, yeah.
The middle one. But you're like, oh my gosh. And Ron Howard was in his next movie, which he made like a year later. That's crazy.
He had an eye for talent, that Bill Karn. He may not have given a lot of direction to his actors, but he had an eye for talent.
Like everyone is doing their best, though. You can see like Pamela Mason here and him. They're doing they're acting their hearts out and they're moving within the frame decently. But sometimes it's a little flat.
Yeah. Now, it's you mentioned earlier about some of the twists and turns of the screenplay, and I'm not going to go so far to say it's a twist in this, but I noticed that it's unusual that his mistress here, right? This is as you mentioned, it's Pamela Mason. Her name is Ellen, and she's older than his wife. Now, both the actress. Now, there's only 5 years separating her and Cay Forester, so it's not a big deal. But the way that she is dressed, the way she sort of is presented, she's definitely more, a more mature person. And that is a slight twist on the convention that you would imagine that if he's cheating on his wife, you imagine he's cheating. If he's bored with his suburban life, who's he cheating with? Oh, he's cheating with like a 25-year-old chippy.
Yes, yeah,
and that's not the case here. This is a mature woman, and that's just something a little different than what you would expect.
Yes, exactly. Because I don't know. Maybe one of the problems, like a few years into his marriage, he probably thought, you know what, I really wanted to marry someone older. Darn it! Because the moment you see her, you think, is he visiting his mom? Who is that?
Is that his aunt?
And it's like, that his. And there's and forgive me, I think this is correct, but at the start of the breakfast scene, he mentions having a hangover, and then he says to Ellen when he's with her, "Well, we were up last night drinking," or something like that. And I thought, how does he do that in suburbia? Like go out and drink all night, like on a work night with his mistress? I guess she really like Nancy really doesn't care, right? She seems to be a bit drunk too. But it's because it's great because the more you see it, it's like they're barely holding together for little Ronnie Howard here. I don't think that I'm kind of like this little Stevie Wonder, but little Ronnie Howard here, and they're holding it together for them. But you can see like she doesn't care, he doesn't care. He's going to run away to Vegas. She's going to, I don't know, sink into the walls of her house or something. I don't know. But that the great thing is you have these two guys here. You have Vic Tayback's character, Fred, Dave, Ron, who
Chip.
I don't know. I Chip. Yeah, I kept saying his name wrong. but who thinks he's, and this is very 60s too, right? Like the efficiency expert kind of thing, where like he's got it all worked out. Between 8 and 8:10 they do this, and between this time he does this, and and he thinks because he sees them going out of our house that he knows everything that's happening, but he don't know diddly. And it's one of those interesting heists where the moment it begins and he gets to the bank, you almost immediately think, oh, this is going to go wrong quick. Yeah. And it's one of those kind of heists, which is kind of interesting to see, because when these two are acting their hearts out in the living room, dining room, kitchen area, and the bedroom, Vic is fighting a losing battle at the bank.
I love the 10 that he gives. I love that it's a crumpled up bill out of his pocket. Yeah. It's not at all like what a door-to-door salesman would do. Like it gives you a crisp, clean bill. It's like, it's moist.
Exactly. Exactly. And yeah, to be honest, yeah, if someone came to my door selling something and I guess something like that, and they handed me like a 20 or something, I would instantly close the door and probably push the silent alarm button on my alarm system.
Call ADT,
I think, yeah, exactly. I mean, because I would think at this point in her life, like everyone's gone, so I hope they have a TV in their house. I imagine they do. Old time radio was still a thing in 1960, so she still could have the radio. But like, I'm dying to know what, if he hadn't shown up, what she would have done today.
How did you know my name?
Just kind of had a glass of water and sat around, I guess.
Now, by the way, I'm no gun expert, but we saw earlier Johnny load a silencer onto his gun.
Yeah,
he's holding a revolver. Silencers don't work on revolvers because the noise comes from the barrel, the little space there between the barrel. So this wouldn't even make any sense. It's not going to work. But okay, that's fine.
I like to think that was maybe one of Johnny's. Maybe he said, "Mr. Kern, this isn't how this works, Johnny. Whatever you want to do,
whatever you want, Johnny.
Just want to do. Well, this doesn't work, Johnny. Please, you go. Well, should I get a new guy, Johnny? Just do it.
Whatever you want, man. Whatever. There. Now I love. They'll say, no, this is good. She gets a private Johnny Cash concert at least.
Yes,
that's not bad.
And I love the sort of. I mean, because here it kind of begins, right? For the next half hour or so, these two are just going to be sort of occasionally, not counting cutaways like this, they're going to be sort of just dealing with one another, and he's going to be trying to break her down, thinking she's, like I said, the ultimate suburban housewife. She knows she isn't, and she's just wondering, what the hell is this guy with the gun and the guitar doing in my house? What's happening? And so they're going at it. It's and there's some quite good dramatics coming up here.
Now, of course, the reissue of this, the 66 reissue is, as we said, it's called Door-to-Door Maniac. They're leaning entirely on that side of it.
Yes.
The original title, 5 Minutes to Live, is at least sort of putting both storylines kind of in there. But Door-to-Door Maniac and we'll talk about it later on, the stuff in the press book and the posters, they leaned heavily on that, which is, don't answer the door. And they really tried to sort of repurpose it as a horror movie, almost like he's this sort of serial killer, which of course, that's not what it is. As you said, if she had decided not to let him in, that would have been the end of the scam.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Because when they made the movie at the start of the 60s, exploitation sort of independent films were you could have some violence, but you couldn't have sex. What you see in here was, as not counting the added stuff, is what as far as you could go. And exploitation films were really pretty calm. But at the end of the 50s is when you started to get films like The Immortal Mr. T's, where you could have nudity as long as it wasn't sexual. And then as the 60s went along, Herschel Gordon Lewis brings in the gore, and there's more violence, and you get the nudie cuties and nudist films become roughies. So by the time this film was re-released, we're in the land of the roughies. Bonnie and Clyde's, I think, about to come out and change the sort of the face of the rating system, or begin the rating system. And so it's kind of like they do that wonderful exploitation thing where they're pitching a film in one era as if it was made in that era, but it was made in a different era. It's made a completely different time. So you got to kind of punch that Johnny Cash is in it, because a lot of people are going to walk out going, "What was that? What did we just watch?" And I thought Ronnie Howard grew up.
It is amazing to think how much the cinematic landscape changed in just the 5 years. Between the production of this and then the subsequent reissue, because as we'll talk about when we get to that scene, It's a scene that you could have not gotten away with in 1961, but by 66, it was okay.
Yeah, it's a really weird period of time because I keep calling this exploitation film. I don't know. To me, it's more just like an independently made film, kind of. I don't really see it. I mean, it has exploitation-y moments, but I really think it is like just a drama with a heist in it that was sold as big craziness. Door-to-Door Maniac. He only goes to one door, but I guess Door Maniac doesn't really mean much.
Doesn't.
I guess if it were made today, it would be like Maniac at my door, because door to door wouldn't mean as much, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, door to door is not. Does that even have any currency in our current parlance? You said to a younger person, what's a door to door salesman? They might say, I don't even know what that is. What's a door to door salesman? Who does that anymore?
Yeah, like where I live, all we get are people about once a week. We have someone come into our door who will try to sell us on solar panels. That's all we ever get around here. And they always pretend like they're not, but they are. Sorry, that's my tirade.
Did they ever give you a crumpled up 10 so you could listen to your spiel?
well, they've got a truck that's covered with solar panels, and he'll stand in front of it and go, "Can you guess what I'm selling today? I'll give you a crisp $10 bill.
Hey there, Mr. Budnik.
It's in my back pocket. Let me get it out for you." Oh, that's a second layer back pocket there or something. I don't know what you did, sir. But yeah, I'm sorry. I went off. That was my tirade against people coming to my house trying to sell. So now we're in the bank and we go from, I'm sorry, Rob.
No, I just want to say this is, he very briefly, this is Leslie Kimmel as Mr. Johnson. He's got a sort of Charles Lane energy. If you they couldn't probably afford him, or he was too busy. Charles Lane was busy shooting 6 other movies at this point. This guy was born in 1889. He passed away in 1983. Some of his other credits include Flamingo Road, House by the River, and this is his last film. This is actually Bill Karn's last film as a director as well. A lot of people, this is it for them. This is their last.
Yeah. And I like this scene here because it's even the bank president knows that his vice president is fooling around. Mm-hmm. Like it seems to me like Vic Tayback didn't do his full due diligence. Because if I've never had my boss come up to me and say, Dan, I've never had an affair, but like, Dan, we're just checking on you. That affair you're having, is that going to affect your job? No, get away from me, Mrs. Smith. Or something like that. But the thing I love about the bank president is that when they're sitting down, half the time I think he has a mustache, but he doesn't. I don't know why that is. It's just his lip. I keep thinking, wow, he's got a mustache. Where'd the mustache go? But he doesn't. But this is just, and I love the contrast between the jumping back and forth here, and she still has a look on her face like, why is this guy holding me hostage?
What is this? What is this deal?
And this
here we
is
go. This is the first of many vases that Johnny Cash will kill in this film.
Yeah. Oh, yes, that's nice. And I do love the moment here where it's revealed that not only did he shoot the vase, but he grazed her. That's like, whether we believe it or not, hey, Johnny Cabot's a really good shot. Although the only other time we've seen him really shoot anyone was when he had that huge gun that he shot the guard like 10 feet away from him 30 times. So I guess this shows off here that, he is a good shot. And he can do it.
I have luckily never been shot. I would imagine getting a bullet grazing your face would be enormously painful. It would not be something that you would just go, Like,
what the?
I mean, if Fargo is any indication, when you get shot in the face, it's enormously painful.
Yes, yeah.
She's kind of like, look at that. Well, okay.
And she doesn't even really seem to notice it until she sees it. I guess that's how good he is, right?
I mean, I would just think a searing hot piece of metal ripping into your flesh, even the smallest amount, would be quite painful. But yeah, he's a good shot. He is a good shot.
Now, may I just say, who does Johnny Cash remind you of right there? Think of an actor. Look at his face. Well, now they're not going to cut back to him ever again, right? But look at him. Think right there, and think. So I'm just going to say right off. Next time we go to, I don't want to leave the commentary hanging. I thought they'd cut to his face quick. I forgot this. I just want to say the next time we see him, I wanted a close up. Next time we get a close up, I'll tell you who I think he looks like. But so right now, and I like that. So he shot her and showed that he was dangerous, and now she's beginning to strip off all the I don't care off of her, sort of the curlers and the hairpins and everything, and her hair kind of looks the same, doesn't it? Even though, I guess I've never put in curlers and hairpins and stuff and a hairnet, so I would have thought they did more. I don't know.
It's a lot of stuff we talk about that we haven't done. We haven't been shot. We haven't had an affair. We haven't put our hair in curl. What have we done, Dan?
We've
watching
watched
old
this
movies.
movie a lot. We've looked up a lot about these people here.
I will give Johnny Cash credit for being willing to play someone so unlikable. I mean,
Yes.
look, obviously he's a criminal, and this is this weird hand thing that he's doing.
Oh yeah.
Very strange. That feels like something that, I'm sorry, a director would tell the actor, don't do that. Don't.
Yeah. You would think, and maybe he did, and it's just like, oh, I don't know. I've got in my mind, I have exactly Bill Kearns, the sort of director. Destroying these vases, the vases.
The vase budget on this film was enormous,
incredible. And I would think I was when I was looking up Bill Kearns, I wanted to see something kind of that sort of like stuck out, like he was the last of the directors to use one of those big megaphones. You know, like
the jobbers and stuff.
Yes, exactly. Like he'd walk around with the riding crop, Mr. Cash, please. But I'd find nothing really. And like, oh, there you go.
Yeah, this is like you'd really feel like Johnny Cash is just kind of vamping because he's not been given any sort of direction on what he's supposed to be doing. Again, it's a weird performance. It's distinctive. I'll give him that. You know, it's very unusual for what you would expect. You know, just I mean, he plays guitar a little, but this is all just very strange.
Yeah, he's just having a good time. I mean, and the way that pillow leaps up in the air, that's almost like a special effect, right? You would think that was CGI. Now, not that close up, but every once in a while, the film will have these weird close ups. In fact, there's a couple coming up of Nancy when we're in the bedroom that I need to talk about because they're so strange. But yeah, he's just having a good time. It's like she's acting her heart out, and just like this guy's really nuts, and he's so mean. He's just breaking everything, and he's dancing around. He's doing some ballet twists and turns, and he's just having a good time. And he's just having a good time. I got no more to say than that. I've had good times like that. That is something I've done.
That is something you have done, yeah.
Yes.
I looked up this movie in Johnny Cash, The Life by Robert Hilburn, because I was curious as to what there was to say about it. And apparently the context of this film, as Johnny is sitting here torturing his victim, basically is that he had two managers that were sort of in conflict with each other. And one of them was a guy named Bob Neal. And Bob Neal was sort of, out of the three, kind of the odd man out a little. And he felt his grip on Johnny Cash slipping a little bit. And Cash apparently had indicated that he really wanted a movie career like Elvis. I mean, again, Elvis, the gold standard was Elvis. And this Bob Neal was so determined to get Johnny Cash into movies that he sort of took the first deal that came along, which was Sutton Pictures and this movie. And so, and then after he arranged the deal for Johnny Cash to do this movie, Neal quit as Cash's manager. And so he sort of kind of stuck Johnny in this thing that Cash was committed to, and then sort of took off because he realized him and Cash were just not really getting along. But so this is the kind of thing where someone's desperate to get his client into a movie, and it sounds like they took, maybe sort of the first offer that came along.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and here's what I said, like, about the moment the character arrives in the bank, it starts to go wrong. Like right there, Pop, the old security guard, is looking at him instantly. It's like he knows Vic is up to something right away. So it's like it's the big heist, which we're about 40 minutes into the movie before the big heist actually properly begins. And you could see it beginning to spiral down the drain. Oh boy, here it is. Remember that credit at the beginning, folks? Lingerie, negligee.
Yeah, there we go. Jewel Park earning her money.
Yes.
Well, I mean, look, if a guy walks into the bank with that hat, with that, Buena Vista Social Club hat, he looks like he's going to rob the place.
Exactly. And this, again, to show sort of how sort of sad this kind of marriage is at this point. When he asks, like, where'd you get this? She says something like, oh, it was a joke. And I thought, why was it a joke that you bought a nice negligee? What kind of joke would that have been? Like, it was his birthday and you strolled down to negligee and you all laughed and you put your ugly bathrobe back on?
I'm guessing that she bought it to entice him, but he's never home because he's always out with the mistress, and so she never even got to put it on once.
Yeah.
That's me doing backfill for the screenplay.
Yeah. Oh, there he is. Look at the close-up. Look at the close-up. Think right there. Johnny Cash plays Mr. Bean in the Rowan Atkinson story.
There, look, another vase.
Yes, another vase. But yeah, it's at the moment. There was one shot of Johnny Cash earlier on in the living room where I was watching it the first time, and I said, "Is that Rowan Atkinson?" And now I can't stop seeing it during certain shots. Your mileage may vary, but occasionally I was like, Mr. Bean? So things are starting to
get a little more unpleasant.
Yeah.
I'll take the fight out of you. Ooh, boy.
Oh, yeah, and you can tell his hair's gone kind of crazy there. And we're not going to watch it, folks. We are watching it, but Johnny Cash, isn't he great? I don't know. Whenever I see scenes like this, I always get a little. So
I love how thwarted Johnny's going to be by the range going off. He's completely flummoxed. What do I operate with this thing? Is this guy never been around in his life?
I love it.
This is mad.
This is woman's work. I don't even know what I'm doing in here. You expect to see him like in the next shot, like on fire or something like that. Like, what's happening to me? I don't understand.
I thought he was going to shoot it. Like he's shooting the vases. I thought he was going to shoot the. He's so frustrated by this.
And there is a nice moment earlier on where there is an insert, I think, of her turning the timer on.
Yeah.
So not that means that much, but because we all forgot it and everything, which is the point, right? But yeah. So she's gonna get, I guess, all gussied up now. The interesting thing when I looked up Cay Forester, her acting credits and such, I was surprised at how many times, like right next to her character's name, or like if she played nurse, it said uncredited.
Yeah.
That was a little strange, and right at the end, because right at the end of her career, she's in Airport 1975, I think, and she's got a different name. She's using a different, or was that 2 Minute Warning? I forget, but it was just weird when I thought because I like her in this. I think she does good work, and she's dealing with a directionless Johnny Cash.
Yeah. The next film she did right after this, actually, she's uncredited, is Otto Preminger's Advise and Consent, which I love. I love that movie, and it's kind of hard to find. But so she's in that. But yeah, she ends up being uncredited in a lot of her other films.
I think when I looked it up, her husband produced it, but I think this is the only thing he produced, or that I could find. He didn't produce a lot, if he did, which is too bad.
Yeah, the producer is James Ellsworth, who only had 2 credits, and the other credit is a 1976 documentary called Chesty, A Tribute to a Legend. Now, by that title, you're kind of imagining what that might be, right?
I think I'm pretty positive what that might be, but I'm guessing it's not.
It's not. It is, in fact, a documentary about a World War II veteran, and it was directed by John Ford.
What?
You can believe it. Yes. Wow. The guy's nickname was Chesty. But I mean, you read 1976 Chesty, A Tribute to a Legend, you think you know what you're getting, but no.
Yeah. Oh, man. Now, I kind of want to see that, but I kind of want to see what I thought it was before you told me.
Exactly. Runs as a double bill with Chatterbox or something like that.
Yes. Yeah.
That seems like something Russ Meyer would have produced.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, the company that made this film is called, I mentioned earlier, Sutton Pictures. They were only around for a couple of years. They produced about a dozen films, mostly kind of side second features, movies like called Night of Evil, Fear No More. They did a thing called Paradise Alley with Marie Windsor, Beyond the Limits with Jack Palance, Force of Impulse with Robert Alda. So they weren't doing A-list pictures, certainly, and they sort of folded just after a couple of years. And they ran out of money. in the middle of making this film, and production actually had to shut down, and Johnny Cash had to put up his own film money to get it finished. He put up $30,000 of his own money to get it finished. They started filming in June. The budget was $100,000, and they shut it down, and it picked back up in September thanks to Johnny Cash stepping up and putting in his own money.
I wonder if, wow. Well, that's very nice of Johnny.
It's the kind of thing we got to wonder. Like, you're committed to this. What am I? It's probably not working out the way you hoped. But it's better than just stopping it entirely. So okay.
Yes. Yeah. The thing I like about these long scenes between them is they're not pleasant scenes, but what they sort of remind me of is kind of this is 1960, kind of almost and feel free, this could be like my Rowan Atkinson thing, but almost sort of Bergman variation, like something scenes from a marriage, conversations. Well, almost most of his movies, Winter Light, it's two people in a space just talking a lot. And eventually, in like a good Bergman film, they'll sort of break through to something, some sort of realization. Here, they don't really do that. It's just people talking, and they talk, and it goes on. And like in Bergman films, sometimes it is really good films where you can get like people, like in Scenes from a Marriage, where that couple can just talk for half an hour, and it's absolutely entrancing, and you're watching it, and you just realize, I just watched two people sitting in bed talking for 25 minutes. And this to me sort of has the feel of that, like they're trying to, make a point about suburbia, make a point about the lies hidden behind the doors, which sounds like a very sort of Joe Sarno thing. And he would start making movies in a couple of years after this. And in 1966, he made a ton of movies, about sins in the suburbs and things like that. And I'm probably pushing it a bit to say this is Bergman-esque, but just the way that, like, talk is cheap, but it also can be quite beautiful when done well. And here I think that there are a few moments where it feels like, the endless conversation isn't just filling time. It's, the writer kind of trying to make a point or trying to really flesh out these two characters. So what happens to them feels more tragic, feels more powerful. Again, it is called Door-to-Door Maniac, so I might be making that up, but that's the way it feels to me sometimes.
Guys like this never figure out that when the woman they're holding hostage suddenly becomes attracted to them, that it's a ruse. These guys never figure it out. Whether it's Billy Zane, a dead calm, they never, they always think they're so charming that, I finally talked her into it. No, the woman's fooling you, you moron.
So it wasn't really the gun, because she has the gun now. I do like that she is going to shoot him.
It's on safety. So darn, you don't know that.
Get it over with. I can't stand it.
I like it because normally you have that moment. It's funny, like how many movies would be so very different if we didn't have guns. Like how many movies like if Johnny Cash's character didn't have a gun here, all he'd have is his guitar, and I guess he could like play it really loud and force her into a corner or something. I don't know, but like think of how many movies just involve like one person with a gun, just like pointing it at someone else, and it goes from there. And this is one of those. If he didn't have the gun, she'd probably run out the back door. Maybe she could have done that several times actually already.
Hit him in the head with a vase. There's a lot of vases around. Hit him in the head with the vase and run out the door.
Oh, now here we go with this. Really
here we
weird,
are. Yeah.
This kind of freaks me out, and it's just this.
Carnival of Souls all of a sudden.
Yes, exactly. It's Carnival, and especially this last jump that comes up in a moment here, where you think she can't get closer, but then. And when it does this jump here, which is going to happen, I'm sorry, I'm doing it again, folks. Rowan Atkinson, no, right there, like, well, and like the right side of her face looks, because of the lighting, looks like it's like Uncanny Valley sort of distended or something like that. No, it's not. It's just the lighting. But it's just like this reminds me of if you go on YouTube and look up analog horror. Which is basically people making videos today that are meant to look like old VHS tapes and things. One of the things they do is this weird sort of, they'll show faces, and then all of a sudden there'll be a big jump cut, and the face will have gone all disturbing, and you'll hear a loud noise, it'll be crazy. That's kind of what that reminds me of. And it just comes out of nowhere. And speaking of coming out of nowhere,
Right. Yeah. Right. If you're watching this film and you all of a sudden feel like you're watching a different movie, it's because you kind of are.
yes,
This was added in. I mean, this is clearly added in later because you never see Johnny Cash's face. This guy looks like Johnny Cash from an angle, but you never see Johnny Cash. So this is clearly not Johnny Cash, which means they shot this at a later time and inserted it. You do see Cay Forester.
yes.
So I'm going to have to assume that she, I'm not sure when this would have been added. It seems like hardly worth the effort to do this, to go and reshoot all this and splice it in just for the sake of reissuing it. But obviously they felt the need to do. But when we got to this point, because the first time I watched the film, I saw it as 5 Minutes to Live, and this scene isn't in there. And I had read about that. Oh, there's an added scene, and then we got to see it thanks to Film Masters, and we get to this, and like, oh, this is okay. This is a whole thing added later. But again, the tip off is you never see Johnny Cash's face. So he had nothing to do with any of this.
Yeah, he was. I wonder what it would have been like if he had gone into a theater saying, "Hey, Door-to-Door Maniac, realized it was 5 Minutes to Live," and then I never did that.
Yeah, what? Huh? What?
And one thing here, where is Johnny right now? I don't mean to be rude, but because shouldn't he still be because Johnny doesn't seem like the kind of guy his character doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would be doing what I assume he's doing right now. And I don't mean to be rude, but you can't see his face. So where is he? I have thoughts of what he might be doing, and he seems like the kind of guy who I don't do that. I'm Johnny Cabot. Women are there for me. I'm just saying, they're trying to hide his face, but I always wondered. I'm going to stop.
You do got to wonder what Johnny Cash thought,
Yes.
if he even knew about this.
Exactly.
What he might have thought, because hey, there's this weird transition here with the
It's almost like the Wizard of Oz. We're going to take off or something.
And here we go. We're finally going to get into the money part of this here.
The heist,
70,000. That's about $700K now. So it's nice chunk of change.
And it's strange structure too. I mean, because we're now we're over 2/3 of the way into the film before the heist sort of properly begins. I feel like maybe Johnny could have gone in the house a little later. He didn't really.
Yeah,
need to
there
have
is
gone in the house.
He does kind of waste a lot of time before. Yeah, they could have gone to lunch. They could have gone and done something before he actually.
Exactly, because I mean, literally, he could be going in there right now, and not had to. I guess I don't know. I guess he was trying to say, like he said, he wanted to meet a real perfect suburban housewife. He didn't, but he wanted to.
They mentioned earlier too when the two of them show up for the first time that Johnny Cash or Cabot is only seeing the house the day he's got to go over there. I love that they didn't bother to do any preliminary casing of it. They could literally just show up and then, hey, go over there. Like, oh wow, okay. See, now we're back to the film proper.
Yes, yeah.
We're back to Johnny.
And like when you saw her, well, apart from the screen, it's kind of a dichotomy there between the way she was looking during that and just her histrionics, right? Well, I understand completely. I don't mean to belittle it, but she is really screaming. I have the volume turned down, and she is really going for it. And now and now we're going back. Oh, I love Vic's hair. Sorry. That's why you listen to commentaries, to hear me talk about Vic Tayback's hair.
Vic Tayback's hair.
Can we talk? Do we talk about Vic Tayback yet? Or
No, we haven't really. We haven't gotten into.
Would you please? Yeah. Please. Vic
he was born in 1930, passed away in 1990. Of course, most famous for Alice. He was also in the movie. He was in the Scorsese film that the show was based on. But he also was in movies like Bullet and The Gambler and Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, Papillon.
Yes.
His last credit is a 1990 episode of MacGyver.
Hey.
That was his, so that was his, and he's got that wonderfully gravelly voice. And I talk about this all the time when I do commentaries, where I would love to know when actors are on a job and they have done another gig that was remarkable. Do they ever talk about it? Because like think about all the time he must have spent on the Alice set. Did anybody ever say you hung out with Johnny Cash? What was that like? You know, I would imagine it's pretty remarkable.
Yeah. And I didn't realize that he won the Golden Globe twice for Mel. That doesn't Alice doesn't
know that. Oh.
To me it didn't Alice doesn't seem like the kind of show that would, or maybe it would
get Golden Globes. Yeah.
I mean, but when I saw it, I was like, well done. I would love to see if he just got up there and insulted everyone. You know how badly that can go at the Golden Globes. But if he did it as Mel, though, you know, and then they'd have Polly Holiday in the back, just kiss my grits. Yeah, he's also in a really wonderfully early 70s sleazy horror film called Blood and Lace, which was known as the sickest GP rated film ever. It has all kinds of violence and craziness in it, and he may or may not be the hero. I'm putting that in quotes, not to spoil anything, but it's a fun film.
I love that this plot is going to unravel so quickly when when Ken is like, well, what if I don't? Yeah, I suppose I didn't care.
Yes,
you what happened to my wife? Oops, I didn't think that one through.
I like that. Yeah, it's very. I was thinking of like Ruthless People right here.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like, there it is.
I've been marked out. What if I've been kidnapped by Kmart? It's just this sort of thing with the realization that, wait a minute, I was planning on running away with my mistress to Vegas tonight. And then, but I do like the fact that he does sort of realize that, I actually do love my wife and I shouldn't let a crazy man kill her. Hey,
nice guy.
Well done. What a swell. The fact that he thinks about
awakening Ken's part, that's fantastic. That's great.
The fact that he does consider it for a moment. When Danny DeVito gets really excited that Bette Midler got kidnapped in Ruthless People, that's funny. Here it's sort of like, wow, this marriage really has taken a turn.
Next wife.
And it's got to be it's got to be a busy day for him, right? I mean, the night before he was out with his mistress getting drunk. And today, after work, he's going to pack up and move with her to Vegas the same exact time that crazy Johnny Cash invades his house and goes after his wife. And this guy wants what a day!
What a day!
This is only the morning, right? I mean, this movie takes place over more or less 3 hours or so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's see. Is Priscilla calling back? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Priscilla's about to call back. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's great. Like
there she is.
Yeah.
This is Priscilla.
It's fun because it presents her as being a pure full-on nuisance, but then, like I said, in the end, the final call will actually be like she's doing something good. You just expect she's that, she just sits there all day long from her daybed, commanding people do things. She actually helps in the end.
I can't talk now.
I love the little Greek statuary in front of her too. It just gives the whole thing a kind of
she doesn't
kind of atmosphere.
I would love to know where that is. Is that just they just had that set, maybe next to this set or something, and they're just you're gonna just sit here all day and just talk on the phone. And like Bob Newhart? Yeah, exactly like Bob Newhart. It's going to be great. And I just love she's in the same spot and the same thing. I'd love to know where that is. And
I love this. No, I'm sorry. I just love this line where Vic Tayback is about to say, it takes 12 seconds to dial.
Yes.
And I thought, well, if there are multiple nines in his phone number, it's going to take a lot longer than that.
Yes, that's true.
Tick, 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 tick. He's really eating up a lot of the time.
Yeah,
we don't live in that anymore.
No, the good old rotary phone.
Soderbergh has said the cell phone has killed thrillers. I think in this case, that would absolutely be true. In fact, I found a weird detail. Jan de Bont, from the director of Speed in 2012, was going to remake this film.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, you can't do this movie with cell phones, so I don't know how that would have worked.
How would that have? Wow. That's it's wow. Now that's something I'm thinking. I'm thinking of Speed. I'm thinking of maybe. Oh gosh, wow. Maybe the house is. They're moving the house. Like they do house moving. Maybe it's rolling down a hill or something, and he has 5 minutes to kill her. I don't know. Wow, that's crazy to think. Jan de Bont. This is such a apart from a few moments, it's so kind of low energy.
Yeah,
I
it's just these two sets of people on the phone. I don't see what of all people Jan de Bont
That
would
seems
have,
really weird.
would have brought to the, but who knows? Who knows?
Maybe,
now, okay, this guy. I'm sorry, I love this guy. I think I think we've lost something as a society now that men don't look like this anymore. Look at this guy. I love these guys. Just, Stevens is the character's name. Look at him. Look. His reactions are just fantastic. He does. I don't think he has a single line, but he is like, what the hell is this? This is not copacetic. I love that guy so much.
Yeah, he's. He was probably on the Jack Benny program at least 10 or 20 times.
I don't dress like that guy, so I'm just as much at fault as anybody else that we as a society don't look like this. But I could grow that mustache if I wanted to.
Yeah, it's like that guy and that guy who always goes, yes, we've lost him too.
Yes, that's exactly. You should have looked at that earlier, Pops. You would have helped out if you had seen Fred Durella.
Fred, his name is Fred, everybody.
Fred Durella. Yeah.
Fred,
we only finally got that an hour into the film.
Yay for us. But yeah, I do, and this is one of those things too that I like about the film is it has these weird moments. Like, why choose that guy to be like at this super tense scene when you have the husband there and you have Vic Tayback there and they're giving it their all? Why have this little guy like, I don't like you kind of guy, Oh, come on.
He does have a droopy dog energy.
No,
there you go. By the way, this actor here, Howard Wright, is Pop. He was born in 1896. He lived to 1990. God bless him.
Wow.
And he was in movies like The Chase with Marlon Brando, Master of the World with Vincent Price, and a 1956 movie called Cha 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 Boom. I have no idea what that is, but now I'm going to see it just based on the title alone.
Bill Masters, if you pick that one up, I think you got two guys here who'll talk about Cha 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 Boom.
Absolutely. We're just constantly pitching ourselves for other gigs. Now, here, Max is going to come back into the plot.
And it's interesting. And it's interesting the way he sort of shoots it. If you kind of look at the way it's shot, it's a little confusing. Random Doris Wishman style shots of feet.
This random bank. This guy is just another customer. Just stops him for some reason, which is kind of amazing. Here we go.
People did.
Stevens. Boom. Good for you, Stevens.
Yes.
I love it.
Don't take my money.
I don't like him.
I don't like it. And he's kind of got the piglet voice. I forget the actor who did, the Winnie the Pooh.
John Fiedler.
Yes, exactly.
John
Yeah,
Fiedler. Yeah.
From a lot of Bob Newhart shows and things. Yeah. And it's nice because even though, I mean, that sort of big action scene right there is kind of muddled. You get what's going on, and you still kind of feel the suspense. And there are a lot of nice shots of one of those. They must have got some product placement right from those watches because I think it's
Bulova. Yeah, you see Bulova's name a lot.
Bulova watches, Bulova clocks. And he's still playing that guitar.
Now we're headed to the end of the film, and I want to get in just a little bit about the way they advertised this at the time because they said when it was re-released as Door-to-Door Maniac. I was looking at the press book, and it said there's a couple different ways to sell this film. First of all, one headline was simply Admiral Travis, which is just a funny way of just like, okay, guaranteed box office is Admiral Travis.
All the kids were crazy for Merle. It's Merle and the Beatles.
Merle and the Beatles, that's right. He was known as the fifth Beatle in a lot of circles. But it said any TV with a live audience can pick a key. And if it opens the door, they win Johnny Cash albums and tickets to the movie. Okay. And then they said there was hardware stores could do a sort of tie-in with this headline. It could be your street, your home, your life. Is that the way you want it to be? I mean, I know that scaring people works in almost every form of advertising.
Yes. Yeah.
But I don't know. I just feel like that's a little dodgy to kind of, spell it like that.
Yeah, that seems. Especially, I'm thinking like this would have been the time period, like in pop culture when the Cunninghams had a hardware store. Could you imagine Mr. C like doing that? Like Johnny Cash pointing a gun at the customers. Like
you don't want to get murdered, do you? Like, oh my God,
Howard, what is this? I'm sorry, Marion.
Terrible.
I'm sorry, I cut off your. Was there?
Well, no, well, just something else too. I love this phone call where like we don't live in a world like this anymore where people can just keep you on the phone because it's so much
Yes.
easier just to hit that red button and end the
Yes.
phone call. You know, back in the day, hanging up on somebody had a kind of an emotional resonance to it. You were
Yes.
really telling somebody to kiss off by dropping the receiver on them, but now it's just and that's it. It's just,
Yes, exactly.
gotta go. Bye. Boop. That's it. That's all.
I mean, I still have a thing. If I'm on the phone with someone and I don't want to be on the phone with them, I have to more or less find the right moment to hang up. I still feel bad. Just like if someone's on the phone, they're trying to sell me solar panels or something. You know, I feel
Really
bad just
bugging you,
hitting
the solar panel.
that'll be another commentary. If there's a solar panel related movie, does Silent Running have solar panels? No. I think that's probably already got a commentary. But yeah, even I think because of that, like when you were a kid, if you hung up on someone and it was like you get a call back saying, "Did you hang up on me?" But like, no, I thought our conversation was at an end. You know,
Yeah, just text me. You know, just
yeah,
text
exactly.
me. We don't need. Do we need to have?
Yeah, exactly.
Couldn't this phone call have been a text? You know, that kind of thing.
And I think
but anyway,
yeah, please.
I was just going to say that when it was playing as Door-to-Door Maniac, it of course played as a double bill, and it played in a bunch of different places. And here's the couple I thought it would be funny to mention. In Fort Worth, Texas, it ran with Pocketful of Miracles, which just seems like a strange double feature.
Wow, that's
North Bay, Ontario, it ran with Convicts 4 with Ben Gazzara. That's not too bad.
wow. No.
Orangeburg, South Carolina, it ran with Santa Fe Passage. Petersburg, Virginia, it ran with Peeping Tom.
Oh my gosh,
that's a night out at the movies.
Wow, that's gosh.
In Charlotte, North Carolina, No Man is an Island with Jeff Hunter, it was played with. Albertsville, Alabama, Beyond All Limits with Jack Palance. And in Seguin, Texas, it ran with My Six Loves, starring Debbie Reynolds. Again,
Wow.
it's a weird night at the
That's so
movies.
strange. Wow. Wow. That's yeah. You thought Barbenheimer was weird. You haven't until you went to that one. Wow. Now I am wondering if something is missing from the script just because of the way he reacts when a kid becomes involved. Because it's like he's so cool, calm, and collected until a kid shows up.
Well,
And then,
he did
like,
mention in the car that
Mhm.
when a kid, you know, he's like, there was another job where a kid was involved, and
yes, yeah, and
does mention, so
I-
they do drop that in that okay, he
Mhm.
really doesn't want kids involved.
yeah, and I would love to know exactly like well, I guess I don't need to know. It doesn't really matter. And I don't want a prequel. I'm not saying I want a prequel to Door-to-Door Maniac. But yeah, it's I love to know because like when in the moment that's about to happen, when he grabs little Ronnie Howard and runs with him, and you think Ronnie, spoiler everyone, it's been shot. He really
Oh,
kind of
wow.
like his mind kind of for the first time I watched it, I was like, oh my gosh, they
I
just
did have
went
the
there.
same reaction. But did this movie just
Oh my
kill
gosh.
Ronnie Howard?
You know, like
Can a
even
movie
Jason-
do that?
Yeah, exactly. Even, and I do like when he leaves right there, when Ron Howard comes in right there. You think, is there a door there? Or is that just where the set ends? Like, is he just kind of going out of the studio? But you know, I was like, even Jason Voorhees in part 6, Jason Lives, Friday the 13th, he doesn't kill the kids.
No.
So to have a moment here now, technically he doesn't kill the kid. The cop shooting does, but still to
The movie itself does. Here,
Yes.
this cop just starts firing.
Yes, and there's a kid there. I mean, it's almost like you don't shoot at me. I'm going to shoot back.
Unbelievable.
yeah.
I howled when I saw that for the first time. I could not believe it. I thought,
For about-
wow, this movie really did that? Like,
Yeah.
oh my lord.
For about a minute or two, I was just thinking like, and the way he just kind of like, it's like he takes off he hasn't really done that. Did he do that during sex? I don't remember. Did he take his coat off? I don't know, but he just he did. I remember the vest. Sorry, but it's just like the way he goes like he's already crazy, but now he's gone like mega crazy.
He's gone feral now. Yeah, here.
Yeah, like,
He's gonna
and
die in
like-
the dirt here.
Like his mind is just like a buzzing white noise, and he rushes at a cop, firing at him with the gun, you know. And when Elliot Ness was shot at like that, he could get away with it because he was cool. Johnny's going down, and I like he goes down hard here, right into the dirt.
Yep.
Uh,
Now, I
And,
thought
you know-
for the longest time the scene where we learn in about a second that Ronnie Howard is alive was a drop in, like that they realized we can't do
possibly,
this.
yeah.
But
yeah.
well,
We
but
can't
she
shoot
has a
Ron.
lot here. We hear the kid, we hear him yell, and then she's going to react. Here, Mom, I'm over here. Right then, but just the way this is framed, it looks like it was shot at a different because right there,
Yeah.
like they're in front of the paneling, You know,
Maybe they should-
I'm guessing it was always. I love that I pretended to be dead. Boy, that is one sharp kid.
Yeah, and he doesn't. And you think Johnny Cash, having shot that one guy like 30 times, would have seen, hey, this kid doesn't have a bullet hole in him. But I think maybe that's to do with the craziness. When the crazy hit him, he just like he didn't even see that. Maybe this same thing this is what happened before. It's like it's happening again. This terrible thing is happening again, and his mind just becomes a haze, purple haze, and he just goes nuts. Yeah, and I do like that earlier in the movie, Johnny Cash says something to Nancy along the lines of, "You watch too many TV shows," and now in the end. Little Ronnie Howard saves himself. He has another name, Bobby. He saves himself by having watched too many TV shows.
Perfect.
So it all comes full circle. And I just want to say real quick, you and we've got 5 minutes left to comment.
No. Oh my!
Yeah, so let's get it all in. What do you got? Have we talked about
By the way, I should mention IMDb lists an uncredited role in this film to Rue McClanahan.
Yes.
I was not able to spot her in this movie.
Is this her coming in here? Is this her?
No, I don't think so. It doesn't look like her.
'Cause
I think. I mean, this woman, right? This woman comes in late, but it does not look like Rue McClanahan. Now, the fact that Rue McClanahan was in a movie around this time called 5 Minutes to Love makes me think that someone has interpolated those two
I think
films.
so. I think
by the way,
yeah.
that would be a great double feature. 5 Minutes
Wouldn't
to Live.
that be? I'd love
5
to
Minutes
see
to
that.
Love.
Yeah,
That would be great.
Yeah, you go out with a smile on your face. Yeah. Because, this was the time when she was doing all the films with John Hayes and stuff. So she was she was doing something. Yeah, I saw that too. And I thought, and every single woman who walked in the movie, I just stared at her. Said, no, that's not Rue, because Rue
that's
was
not her, right?
Yeah, Rue was younger at this point here.
Yeah.
It was young Rue. You know,
Yeah.
young Rue, the movie. So yeah. Oh, and I always think of it like that. Ellen's probably just going to go to on Friday. She'll go to a big dinner party and find another gentleman who's married and start another affair with him. I don't
she can
really...
do better. She can do better than this
she
guy.
can do, exactly.
Now, this ending has been completely changed in at least its tone, because the 5 Minutes to Live version, they basically patch things up, and Ken stops being such a jerk, and she mentions that she brought the negligee, and that's that's they have. It's the sweeter ending. He realizes he was wrong, and they're going to go off to Vegas. And I don't know what they're doing with Bobby. I guess I guess so. He's just been through a traumatic experience. I don't know if it's a great idea to leave him with the neighbors or something. But okay.
Yeah, my thought was they sent him down south to his real dad to stay in Mayberry for a few years. But I can't.
You never left.
I can't prove that. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you're right. It is weird watching. Like the tone here is just It's almost like it's not quite like a Twilight Zone twist or anything, but it's sort of like oh no, he brought the negligee, and it's too bad. And I guess it fits the time period, right? Like in 1960, a nicer ending would have fit better than later in the 60s when things were getting darker, sort of in endings and stuff. So boy.
Now this film, clips of this film are shown at the Johnny Cash Museum, which I find interesting. He only ever did another theatrical film. He didn't do another film until 1971's A Gunfight with Kirk Douglas, and that was it. Now, of course, he went off to do a lot of TV movies, but he's only this is his first and one of only two feature films he ever did. So, so now we're getting this re-edited. All this stuff is dropped in for all this. This is all new. All the flashbacks to the.
Yeah, and this
ends of the film.
And at first I thought it was her, maybe because she says I don't remember it, and then he brings up the negligee, and I thought, is this suddenly her remembering all of it again? But then you start to see shots that she's not in, like that one. Like I'm sorry, the guys in the truck.
She doesn't remember any of that.
Okay, and then you think, what a weird. This is as weird as the montage at the end of Mame, the Lucille Ball film. At the end of Mame, there is a hugging montage where the music plays really loud and lush, and you just see Mame hugging everyone throughout the film. This is as weird as that, because you're like, I don't feel like I like that though with the shot and everything, but I don't quite get the point of this. It's not to fill out the movie. The movie's already at feature length, but it's just weird.
I'm guessing just they wanted to. I don't know. They're trying to. It's very rare where you see a movie edited to where they are trying to recontextualize the entire movie with
Yes.
this voiceover. I mean,
Yes.
to present it as that she somehow missed this,
Yeah,
like this,
yeah.
the good experience, and she enjoyed it, which is a pretty
Yeah.
dubious. And then it's
Yeah.
going to end with her looking sort of in ecstasy, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a yeah. Yeah, that's
so-
5 minutes to
That is 5 minutes to live,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for listening. And I hope you enjoyed it, everyone. Again, I'm Dan Budnik.
Again, thanks so much to Phil Masters for asking us to do
Yes.
this. And I'm Rob Kelly. And as always, long live physical media.